Let's get started. I'm assuming my target audience here is coming from a marketing background, as could be a digital marketing agency, but that's our foundation. And you guys are technology oriented. That is my also an assumption. Otherwise, you won't be here because you like AI technology and you wanted to leverage from it. So let me start with few slides, and then I will jump onto the tool. So here at CrawlQ, we really wanted to know our target audiences, like our mom and pop, without never talking in the language they really fail to understand. It's just like trying to understand them as much as we know our mom and pop, and we never disappoint our mom and pop while talking something which they won't be able to understand. Otherwise, they will not be happy. So it was like a connection. I will try to make that connection very strong as we move. Uh, the next question that we have, for example, this scenario. If you have sort of uh, newly launched, right? You have newly launched your business, be it a marketing agency or someone your target audience. They have newly launched this business, and you are under this range in the revenue. The next step that you have is you have constant struggle to sort of generate content that really excites your Fred. In my opening sentence, our Fred was mom and pop, but I'll come to that character who is our Fred. So you can pause at this moment and think uh, if this is something that start making some connection with you, because we are really talking about a scenario, a specific scenario. You are a CEO, you are a founder, and you are making at least some starting revenue, and you are having the struggle that how to grow organically, right? And you know that your product, service is good, your idea is good, and you wanted to make sure that how to find that product market fit, that service market fit. You wanted to find out how I can get my perfect friend. You are looking for a perfect friend. You are struggling. Maybe you have investment. You're a startup, or your clients are startup. They are stressed. They're pressured by investors. They need to maintain good valuation. That can be a scenario as well. Then there can be scenario that you are agency owner, maybe technical background that is important because that's where connection happen very fast here. You are SaaS CMO, CTO. You have tried hiring even marketers, or you yourself are marketers, and you felt that you have wasted your client's time, or clients felt that you have wasted their time. That is also can be a scenario, right? So the idea here is, or maybe you have not done anything right now, or you have tried different tools, alternative tools. You have paid many bucks to upgrade them, and still results are not what you expect. And let me tell you that this is not something that is your fault. Um, Problem. Now I'm really focusing on the problem. Problem in the industry is people start from SEO keywords. They talk about search volumes. They talk about topics. They spend endless hours trying to go through different databases, trying to understand these keywords. That's the starting point. Is somehow not really working now because of the so much demand for the content, and also your Fred is far away from this approach. The approach that you're taking, really, your Fred is much far away from this approach. These tools are not able to generate unique insights. They can give you keywords, they can give you search volumes, but these tools won't be able to give you compelling answers, insights. So this is really important to get an idea that the main problem is with our approach that we are following in the industry so far. We are too much focused on SEO. We are forgetting our Fred. Fred is our friend. Fred is our ideal customer. Fred has fears. F for Fred, fears. Fred wants results. FR. E. Fred has expectations. Fred has desires. This is the person that is very close to you. this person can be you yourself, right? You cannot sell to someone else unless you can sell yourself first. So this thread, you don't need to look thread too far. Thread can be within you as well. So this, we are missing this thread in this whole approach that we are following in the industry from last many years. We are missing his pain points. We are missing his roadblocks, suspicions, desires, mistake that he made in the past, fears that that this thread has. So why I wanted to start like this was I really wanted to focus on the problem before you really understand what we are trying to achieve with CrawlQ. So with CrawlQ, we are really trying to achieve and find the thread. And we start with one single person. I'll come across this more often in this presentation. But believe me, if you are established marketer, or even if you are successful founder, you have launched many startups, still the day of the product launch is stressful. It is never easy. Even if you are well-known marketer, entrepreneur, this is stressful the day or first few even weeks or days before you go there. Even if you are established person, you have a track record in it, but if you ask people, it is not easy to launch any product or services. And I wanted to touch upon this point that many, even established B2B companies, they try to create buyer persona, but most of the time, only 11% of their buyer persona is accurate. And out of this 11%, there's also no way where you can structurally, so in a structure, you can collect this data and use this in a meaningful way in your content creation. So if you are following me so far, what CrawlQ is trying to achieve is solve this problem of identifying your thread, collect the data about thread in a structured way. We start with one single person at one time. With the help of AI and copywriting formula in the behind the scene, we generalize this thread. When I'm talking about thread, I'm not collecting his date of birth, email address, where he went last night in the restaurant, what dinner, no. I'm talking general semantic, psychographic aspect of the environment in which thread operate. And he has some business problem, he has some personal problem. So I start with the thread, and then with the help of AI, we generalize and we abstract thread in such a way that there are statistical significant number of threads. And that's where our market is born. That's where our product and service is going to be resonating with this person. So still, read in the lines. We start with one single thread. We generalize and abstract this thread in such a way that there are statistical significant number of threads, because we are not going to sell to one thread, we are going to sell to many people. Now at this stage, I wanted to stop and ask any one of you a question. Am I talking something which makes sense just on a high level? You can also drop in the chat or silence. Thomas, you're on mute.
Well, in my opinion, it's all good. I think we all know why we're here and why we already bought the product. For me, it's about how do we use the product so we can generate reasonable, credible results to use.
Right.
That's my point. That's why I'm here.
Okay.
Not why it's a good idea to use the platform.
Right. So that means you're already in the thesis. You're already understanding the concept. So I don't need to go that much deeper, and I don't need to convince this idea about thread to you. You know it. And
yeah, I've been spending the last 2-3 days to fill up the market research. I don't know about the other two guys, but I filled this up and I'm struggling to get stuff out of the platform that's really helping me. Yeah.
Yes.
It's basically the same for me. I'm also more interested in the practical topic.
Yes. Okay, that's really good. You point me this out. for me, it was really important because I don't know at what place you started. And I really wanted to make this very clear so that we are on the same page. So by this, I will stop here on this slide and I'll directly jump into the tool then. And of course, when you start with your market research, you start with some basic onboarding questions. And these onboarding questions are still your hunch feeling about the thread. So let me put up the right screen here. When you create a new workspace, you start with the workspace name and you start with connecting this with your domain name. At this stage, you're attaching this. Your domain name is not like making any crawl or anything. But let me pick up a topic which you guys might be interesting. So let's say I pick this topic, podcast B2B. So we are talking about even still marketing thing, your marketers, and you might be interested in this topic to go deep, a little bit deep dive into it. So let me pick up one example and see how we go with this. So in this example, I took B2B podcasting, and my niche is B2B marketer. So this is Christian, B2B marketer. I'm taking your name here, but it will help us. So Christian is looking into lead generation and master the art of B2B podcasting. Does this first statement make sense? It's like very simple statement that I'm making. Christian is marketer, B2B marketer, who is looking into lead generation and master the art of podcasting. Then I wanted to narrow it down because I wanted to be more specific. The idea of niche, sub-niche, micro-niche, wanted to be as specific as possible. So Christian is serious about content marketing. He's looking for success with the ultimate B2B podcast community to get the right audience. He wants to learn tips, tricks, and tactics to master the art of B2B podcasting. This is quite a statement, and that sort of narrows down. And it further can be narrowed down by looking into another statement. It's my micro niche. So Christian is looking for questions on how podcasting can help, what content, equipment, money is needed to set up, including guests, videos, and other necessary tactics to know deep inside of podcast marketing. Vertical is B2B podcast marketing. And now here comes the interesting small story about the thread. Thread can be different for different people. So here, Christian is, I want to say H, but is a B2B marketer. This is his current situation. He is currently scaling his company's organic lead generation. So this is his current situation. Well, this story is quite pivotal to get really good insights because the way it is structured, it is almost a definition of a niche. Niche is a person, single person, who is in a specific situation with a specific desire, with a specific result. You can always refer back all the help that is here. It's very useful to read this because if you read this information, you'll get idea because these are the smart instruction, copywriting based instruction that goes to the tool, and they're quite detailed. So it's kind of you're building education also, and you're not deviating away. And AI knows this, as a user knows this, what is going on in the background. A specific group of people in a specific situation with a specific problem and a specific desire. Christian is in a specific situation. It's a B2B marketer. He is currently scaling his company's organic lead generation, his current situation. He heard podcasting could help his business growth, but he is struggling. He has a problem, a specific problem. He's struggling to get started and looking for questions. And he has a desire. He's looking for questions of what equipment is needed, which platform to host podcast, record, write, and find guest speakers. So if you decode this statement, this is quite a load statement, right? And whenever you write content, you're not looking at keywords, but you're looking around where my thread is, where Christian currently is, what picture or dream or path I should visualize for Christian so that he get quite interested in my content. I'm not going to talk about whole podcasting and how it works. I'm really going to narrow it down and focus on his struggle and show a clear path to my target audience, in this case, to Christian, where to find answers for these questions, like what equipment he needed, which platform to host, which mic to record, write, and find guest speakers. So if this is the structure that we follow in the beginning, it's a seed structure. The steering wheels are in our hand, right? And even if you get hunch feeling, even if you get like 10% of it in the beginning, more sort of a hunch feeling, you save this and you generate insights. And this is our first step. So when you save this, when you generate insights, it comes up with its own intelligent insights. Because I'm already here matured them. So of course, there is a limit where I can ask more specific information from AI. So if you're already too specific, then of course the insights, there will be some golden nuggets which will be there. So if you, I don't want to read it, but I can tell you that there are already something here which is not here, and I can improve this. So in this case, it was Morphin. Morphin is 27-year-old. Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah, so the insights that the AI produces here, what is the data set of the AI? Is this like, I don't know, 10% of the whole internet from 2019, or is it the market research insights of all of your users? Because what I have experienced is that when I'm asking the AI to generate insights, it spins the content that I have put in earlier and gives it back to me. So I'm basically receiving my own answers and my own market research data that I have put in before.
Right. And this can be true because in the beginning, we are just building the context and it has a very little context to start with. So in these categories, niche, demographics, if you're already too specific, when it build this information and try to recreate or represent this information, and I'm sure when you read this, you will get another way to optimize it because I already might have optimized it. If suppose you had no idea about this topic and you're very high level, then you will get more insights, right? And you can improve it. But as you build this information, we are building the information. And as you go along this, it's just only, we are just starting. But when you go deeper and deeper, this seed information is going to make sure that you're not going further away from this. So when I try to understand which books my target audience read, which platform they visit, it is not going to tell me YouTubers or Instagram or TikTok kids podcast. It is going to really tell me the podcast, the things that are used. So yes, I understand in the beginning, we have a little information, and this little information that is being again presented to you via this is to help you to mature this. And once you start maturing this, it's like steering the wheel in the right direction. And in the beginning, it repeats because it tries to build from that information. And because these four categories are important: niche, demographics, semantics, psychographics. After this, you can go back to dashboard and say train Athena. So where then it sort of take all this input, train on it, index all this useful information, and then it start helping us in broadening this or getting more matured insights. But these four categories we kept deliberately like that, so that it really sort of tried to mature information. It's like, starting to expand that information. Yes, you will see some repetition, but if you read through it, and if you are not maturing enough here already, it will definitely give you 1, 2, 3, 4 ideas which you can still improve it. I think if I read along with you, I can still improve it.
Can I ask another question? Thank you, Harish, so far. Do I understand correctly that you are maturing training the AI with the market research data of every user on the platform?
No, not. I'm not mixing any of users. Christian, even workspace is not getting mixed because
Okay.
when I say training Athena, what I'm saying is we are indexing this information in a smart way so that we can communicate with the language model. So training is already a language model is trained. We are not training a new model. We are using all the NLP setup trained language model. It is already trained to do its jobs. Because in the background, it might be doing. I'm not sure if you are familiar with this machine learning language, but kind of transformation or creating vectors or whatever it is this neural network has to do in the backend. It is doing its job. It's already trained on language. It's understand. What we are trying to do intelligently here is apply this copywriting framework because we wanted to structure information in a way which we can use in our content creation. And these instructions, and when we generate insights, in the way these answers we put here, right, they're already creating a structure of the argument. And these, because in the end, copywriting is not an art or fiction. You sort of assemble arguments and structure them in a way which become a persuasive copy, be it blog, be it landing page, be it webinar. But here, exactly what we are doing is following certain set of definitions that is coming from our copywriting background, the framework, and then forcing these insights to be in that structure so that we can mature still our information. The training that I'm talking is on this data, middle data, not on the insights, because insights can still be repetitive, insights can be still outside of what you think. As a user, you wanted to mature this information. And when you go to next, then it's already helping us because when you put these two information, so what is your website name? What is your company name? Here we can send the fill with AI. So again, it answers questions based on our information, initial seed information. And once you do that, you save it, you go to generate insights. So far, if you are following me, what I'm doing is I only put this two top information. I fill this information. Let's do it in front of you so that you see it how it's going. I copy the first. I clear this information. I copy again. I put domain name. The company name it was Cogniz. So Cogniz is a company which is providing services in the field of B2B podcasting. They have special recommendations and they are authority in this field to recommend. And I forgot the details. We can see the details. But here, these two inputs are necessary to further steer and get us the remaining sort of answers here. And once we have the answer, we are going to use these answers and then save them and generate insights. So role and title, we are targeting CEO, the decision maker in this company, not in this company, to the people who are targeting. So these two information is about us. We are the company. We are targeting Morgan or Christian, you are our target audience, you are our Fred. And then we are targeting a role of CEO, but decision maker is marketing manager. This person is 27-year-old male, location in New York, occupation marketer. So now you have to take this first iteration with a pinch of salt because this is not going inside your LinkedIn or company or it's not really taking data from anywhere, but it's pure AI intelligence based on the copywriting instructions it has in the background, and it's trying to come up with this idea. So I'm sure you wanted to take it with a pinch of salt, but you will also be surprised that maybe this is the right thing and I should look into it, why AI is suggesting me like this, right? I'll save this information here, and then I'll show you, I will generate some insights on this. So generate insights. I think when I save, our framework was that is going to the next step. So this overlap. So we are here, right? We fill with AI. Let me trigger this so that I can clearly show you how the process should work. So what I'm doing currently, it start remembering this information. It will start collecting this information that we did in the beginning. I did these two inputs, fill with AI. It gave me answer. I saved it and I generated insights. I'll save it again here so I don't lose it. I don't want to waste my credit by again generating it. And I'll go through this. So website name is about B2B marketers who wanted to create predictable demand generation engine, overcoming the problems that they don't know what content, equipment, money, and necessary tactics are needed to set up, including guest studio. So you see, it's a repetition. This company is about B2B podcast marketing. This content of this company's website, B2B marketer who is looking into lead generation. So far, I have not seen new thing. Company name should be more or less same thing. CEO, we know. Let's see here. Marketing manager is a decision maker in this situation. Marketing manager is looking for a holistic approach to lead generation and podcasting with the goal of targeting the right audience. They need to scale their lead generation efforts, know how to master the art of podcasting and content marketing. I think we are good here. It's not necessary that you have to get all the time something new here, but you can also validate what information is coming here is good or not. It says this episode contains a brief backstory about what personal experiences created this podcast series. Now, something is triggering me already that when I'm targeting this company and I'm targeting a marketing manager, I think there has to be some starting episode which tell me a brief backstory about the personal experiences, right? So this is not a waste, in my opinion. Even if some part repeats, it will give me something which is very, very relevant. And of course, we are improving this, so you won't get that much repetition. But believe me, some repetitions in the beginning are necessary for us to also validate that we are not going in a different direction. And these repetitions will start getting less and less as we move ahead. And when you say your role and title is giving me a lot of information about it. Even I'm not going to like add this information here. I'll keep it as it is, but still it gives me an information which maybe I can use this information or change, giving me a lot of insights. So it's this person that we are targeting is in this range of revenue. This role title fit your description in earlier questions, then you should try to describe them as possible. Their role is CEO and director of a successful B2M, B2B software company. There's some numbers that is giving us. So this is already quite insightful, right? It's not that we are wasting any effort here. Age, gender, why ML is a population group in this particular situation is can be useful. Sometimes, of course, it gives us which is sort of garbage or maybe not useful. But you see here, things are in the lines. Things are really in the lines. The main traffic channel, it was suggested of this website. Now, once you save this, you move ahead, things will start getting more and more interesting, more and more diverse, more and more really relatable to the niche that we are targeting. Here, our main topic of interest was best B2B podcast series. So when I go to Fred and meet this person, I wanted to have a starting conversation point. And in this situation, my niche that Morkan is my Fred, I wanted to start talking him being as a company cognizant. Hey, what is best B2B podcast series or things that you know around? What is the software that you are using? Again, I put here two inputs. I fill with AI, then I get these topics, headlines. Even headlines are structured through a specific instruction behind it. So, attention CMOs looking for best B2B podcast. Headline, 5 podcasts for your B2B company. Subheadline, how to do podcast marketing. And these headline can go as specific or as you want them. And they will be suggested here also when you generate insights. When you generate insights, you might come across a different headline. These headlines are processed using a specific formula behind it, right? So when you process this headline, these are really giving you new ideas, new insights. CMOs looking for best B2B podcast is a niche pre-headline which the user wanted to include in their copywriting. This includes B2B marketing, lead generation. You can come up with different headline. There can also be a situation where you are completely blank, so you have not filled anything here. You can also press generate insight, and what will come up with this is, of course, it won't pick up the information from here, but it will try to suggest you the information you should put here. And in the beginning, it will be a little bit deviating, but you can play around with this. In some cases, it comes up with really good idea, because it's very hard to control AI to give us exactly what we need, and this process become more and more specific as we collect the data and train in your workspace. But if you're completely blank where to start, you can also start with this generate insight. Still come up with ideas, and it will also repeat some information from the instructions, but it's sort of feeding both ways. You generate insight, you feed it here. If you don't know, you feed it here. Generate insights is optimization process, and anything that you generate here also available as notes. So you can mature these notes. You can refine even this. You can edit this information. Whatever you generate here is available as notes to you whenever you're saving this information. So you're not wasting any of your time, because you are creating content. You can use this content. You can post, create micro content out of it. So anything that we have collected as insights, you can edit them here. You can structure them, and this will also be then useful, because you can take sort of research, and you can refine your next steps. So going back there, and we are just on the very tip of the iceberg here, guys, because it's only niche can take you a long time to sort of deep dive into it. When what current environment and trends impacting my niche, what are the useful and unique insights I share with my niche, what are the jobs and activities my service or product perform against this, what promise I'm making to my market, what are the alternatives and options, who is especially designed this my product or service for. And this is work in progress, so you don't need to complete this at one sitting, one go, because as you move in your business career, or you're working with your clients, they will start getting case studies, they will start getting testimonials, they will have their team. So this whole structure is designed not for one time, but designed in a way that you move along. It's a work in progress. It's a working product inside it. Also take it as like a laboratory setup where you're setting different niches, trying to measure their effectiveness. And nothing is failure here. Everything is iteration and testing, right? Being as a marketer, you need to test your market and ideas. And it's not that if we are using AI, then AI is already finding a niche for us. I mean, don't over expect from this, because here you're still using a copywriting framework. So we are guaranteed that we are right. We are progressing in a very structured direction. We are taking a structured approach. We are not approaching this problem as a random person. We are taking a structured approach to collect all the information. We are fully under control on it. We have set up laboratory environment. We are rapidly testing our messages by creating one persona, second persona, third persona. And then with this 5%, we are already in a state to see if everything is going okay or not. Because once you do this, you should be able to go to this CrawlQ search. And before, you wanted to make sure that you have trained once. It is automatically trained. So once you are 5% done with your research, when you go onto CrawlQ search, then the moment you press this button, it is trained. Or you can just say power up Athena. So important thing here, when I say power up Athena, it is only training on my market data that I have filled up. But interesting thing here, you can also find a URL which is related to B2B podcasting. This URL goes into as much as detail as you have done some research already. When you plug in that URL, power up, it take information from that blog, ebook, guide, landing page, any authoritative reference. But be careful here. You don't want to induce random information into this workspace. So you wanted to have one specific URL which describe this problem, and you wanted to power up this Athena with this. So when you put this URL power up, grab the information, turn this information into questions and insights, and get an answer from the AI. So don't take this. I wanted to be very clear that you take the external URL, but you're turning it into questions and insights, and you can check back again. It's not going to be same that website or something is converting them into questions, and then questions are answered, which are in relationship with your market research. Again, this is important to understand. I have a question now.
Harish, can you please do this once with an URL that you put in here?
Yes, let's do that. Let's find good information on how to start B2B podcasting. How to start B2B podcasting. Let's try to get something which is relevant for Morgan and the information that he was looking. How to create a successful B2B podcast. I'll try to take this. Maybe this is not really answering me the questions which based on, let's have a look on this. It can be your competitor content. It can be content that you have produced in the past. It can be content that later on we are also putting there the reference document. That means a PDF that you can also add there, and it will do the same way as it is going to read this information. So I copy this URL, okay. And now I say power up. So that means it's taking the information from this article, and along with the market research I have done, this is indexed. This information is indexed. Now, how to test this? If everything is going okay, we'll go here in the CrawlQ search.
Is there any feedback from the platform? If it's processed, if it's completed, if anything, because anything that I put in there, it's just vanishing. And
no, we are definitely lagging at this moment in showing you the right information, what is happening. But we are adding this notification or your data has been processed. So you will see it soon. But when I did this, the way to ensure that it has been done, you can also come up here, and if credit will only be detected when this is successful. That information, if it's not successful in the background, then it won't happen, anything won't happen. Okay, so let's get with this. How to create a successful B2B podcast. What is B2B podcast? So I'll ask some simple questions, right? Because I'm sure we have done a lot of information here. So what is B2B podcast? So it was not really relevant information, but the second one is coming from a script. The third one is coming from market research, script, market research. What is B2B podcast? I used to generate more leads and convert them into customers or clients with ease. Let's ask more better question. How to be so you see the information that we gave it is trying to pull this information. Now I wanted to achieve some score which is higher than 70%. And whenever this context is used inside the content creation, it's always when a context is more match, more relevant, more than higher than certain threshold. The threshold is very high, 70, 75, or 75% and more. So these scores are low. That means my query is not right in the right direction. So let's try to see more queries. What is the big benefit? Single big benefit, inspire them to take the next step, be active in the conversation, and get a free checklist to help them with their podcast campaign. This data comes from our market research, all of this data. Use a script. That means also when you create sales copies, the more you work with the tool, it try to get more and more information. So in the beginning, we are seeing those numbers are less because we still need more and more data. We need more market research. We need maybe more URL to feed into it. And it's really contextual. This question is very contextual. So if I'm looking for niche headline, then it should give me the headline that is there. 5 podcasts for your B2B company. So you see scores are getting higher here. So whenever I'm pulling a context which is very accurate, and that's where it will work. So whenever the numbers are higher, only then those information will be picked up and further used for your content creation process. So that means what is happening in the background, you can try to understand me. It's like we are training some assistant, and this assistant has a context for us. So when we create content, we are borrowing context for this person, and it's a working example here. If this is higher than certain threshold, then I borrow this context and use this for my content creation. When I say context, that means I have a smart way to construct an instruction to the language model to give me more useful information, which is in the direction of the context. Does that make sense, like at this stage?
It does. Thank you very much, Harish.
Right. So we also make sure that if we are creating content and if falls below a certain threshold here, it won't be picked up because we don't want our content to get distracted. We always want to sort of fine tune around that. So that was important. I can do more queries here, but the idea is same. It understands the meaning of this query. It's not like a fixed matching. It understands the meaning of this query. Like what is main road block to start podcast. So it is picking up this context, but see, when I feed this context, it's not directly, it's an output that you will see it. It will be used as a context. So if you follow me, you try to understand me what I'm saying. Whenever you pass certain information, AI will pick up a context, and this context will be used to create content further. So we are fetching the context, and as long as this context is really right, because though it is below certain percentage, but still it is picking up the Morgan and its struggle. And if suppose I would have not done this, I would have followed some keyword-based approach on SERP, and I would have used other tool, then I would not ever have got that context, right? If I'm just using a plain AI content writer, even if I start with asking this question directly to the language model, it will never in the background fetch me that context. And that's what is happening here with this approach. I wanted to assure you that these are information coming from different sources, your sales scripts, the website information, the market research, and whenever it passes a certain threshold, then that context is used in the content creation. When I say context, that means in the creation of the smart prompt to talk to the language model. Does that make sense? Okay. And here, once you are done with the initial market research, you can train the Athena, and you can retrain it anytime. You can again pass on a new URL. But what will happen when you pass a new URL? That means the earlier information will be rejected and new information will be captured. So that's what you have to be sort of careful that you start with the best URL that you know. And if you wanted to test, hey, what will happen if I change some information or change the direction? Because this URL can also give the context and direction. So you can test multiple buyer personas in the same workspace. Just change this and see how it goes in the content creation. You can do A/B testing if you're really kind of, trying to really go as much as specific, deep into it. You can really do that A/B testing by removing one URL and then seeing the other URL. And what we are building in the background is like your ability to select 5 different URLs, include, exclude. You wanted to aggregate them, then aggregate as well. We will see this in few days, like 3-4 days. It should be available in the dashboard. But again, summarizing, market research is your starting point. It gets a lot of weights when you do the content creation sales, because the information that is structured in market research is exactly the information that you build your content briefs, sales outline. So always, because it will start with what is your headline, what is your main roadblock. So then this information will be directly captured from there. But if there are information such as facts, such as stats, some research that you can also induce in this content creation via this URL. What is the purpose of this URL? Is to induce facts also, relevant facts, because market research is more based on the desires, dreams, roadblocks, suspicion, fear. That also has a lot of factual information also. But if you wanted to inject some research into it, that also is going to help you to create content. And when there are two things here, one is sales copywriting. So again, I wanted to explain this, the difference between these two. So when I say sales copywriting or sales copywriter, it has certain pre-built I would say scripts. These scripts can be video creation scripts, headline script, sales letter scripts are long form. Each sales letter has more than average 100 questions inside it. So the way it works is like once you open one sales letter, it has multiple questions. You just need to put one single word here, and it has multiple questions, and it gives you output. So let's say here, B2B thing. Currently, we are making a new change where, and that's where I'm showing every information will already filled for you. You don't have to fill anything here, but you can come back and check, and you wanted to verify this. Even if you don't use this sales letter, it is still good to try this out. Why? Because you are creating a structured information that will be used by Athena to further train and give you idea. Even if you discard this completely, you don't use it, but the questions and the answers that you have generated here are very, very structured. And this will help us in training Athena more and more specific. So this job of sales copywriting scripts is not only to give you a direction or outline, but also create more data, more structured data, because these scripts are from famous copywriters. And if we can answer their questions in the way that, it is expected, then we are creating more data points. And these data points later on, we can create our own structure of the script, right? So in this new version, you will find when we are deploying the new version, everything will be pre-answered. You just need to press this button, create document. When you press this button, create document, it's actually stitching all this information and presenting you a structure, pre-filled structure of a sales letter. Now, you will notice that sometimes there is a mistake in the grammar, or there's some issues with that. This is because we are not saying that this is final draft. This is still a structure. So far, I am sure you got this story that when I put this main topic, so B2B broadcasting. This why I'm putting this topic is to fetch all the results from Google relevant to this topic. You can also be specific here. I wanted to create a landing page on my B2B podcast. That's where you wanted to be very specific here. And then all the results related to that landing page and information will be fetched from Google. And on one side, you have the sales letter, which is structured for you, and everything that all the information related to that topic can be fetched from Google will be displayed to you. And then you can further mature this. So treat this output here as a content brief for a sales letter and not as a final sales letter that you can publish. Because we have only done 5% research, so we can't expect this to be perfect as we want. Okay, I hope we get this time. So you see it's a structure. It gives you a very good structure already filled with all the information. that you need. The testimonial should be placed like this. Testimonial should be structured like this. It can be your landing page information. But this is not end of the story. This is just a starting point. Treat this as a not final output, but a structure that you can work with it. And then you get all these different type of content from different sources, especially if you wanted to inject more information. It works like AI content writer. In the AI content writer, we create an outline. Here, it's not only outline, but it's kind of full-fledged structure of a sales letter, of a landing page. And now, if you are very specific here, or you can also change your topic here again, and be very specific what you want in this landing page, what is your objective. You can set country. Of course, it's always by default set to US. But you see here, there's a lot of information that you can use. If you are again interested in a headline or introduction, you can treat this as an extra information that you wanted to combine here. And what exactly we are trying to achieve here on a high level is a combination of the SEO strategy and the copywriting strategy at one place. So create a highly converting SEO copy you can, if you are more SEO focused. Because I have seen this divide between the content creation. We are more SEO focused, so we are more focusing on the traffic to bring on our website. We are more conversion focused, so we are going to write only landing page. We don't care if this rank high or not. I think this is not the right approach. Here, we wanted to bridge this gap and bring this together. So high conversion, high copywriting conversion, and the SEO, and this information you can build on further. The presentation that I started in the beginning was like I generated 4 or 5 different sales letter. I structured the information. I took some information from this approach, and I come up with my own sales letter in the structure. I could never have done that if I would not have got this structure. And this is not only one sales letter. There are many of them, and there are like 12 or 15 different types of sales letter. But there are also emails. Email is not single email. It's like a bunch of email, like 8 or 9, 10 sequences, 6 sequence, nurture sequence. And again, you can enrich those emails by having a super specific information pulling from Google, and again using this structure. So what is happening here? You see a content. Why launch a B2B interview podcast? Okay? And I'm sure you wanted to enrich your landing page with some of the information here. The way to handle this is to convert this information into a question, because you don't want to capture other people's idea. You just wanted to get inspiration from them. Of course, if you are lazy here, you can rewrite this information and use it directly. I won't recommend that. Whole idea here is to turn this information into questions and then get their answers. And these answers are now linked with our market research, with what Athena we trained on. So I was showing you a window. I typed something and I was getting results with certain percentage. This is exactly happening there. So pulling up the context from there above certain threshold, and then asking the answer for this. And this answer that we got is not from this paragraph, but from our market research, from this script. So I wanted to confirm, does this make sense? Christian, Elaine?
It does, yeah.
Okay. I wanted to manage expectation again, that this part, you see, treat this as a first draft, because these type of testimonial, we haven't yet fed into our market research. These are auto-generated by AI, and you can get a real testimonial and replace this, or you can ask your client to give like testimonial like this, because this is based on a story formula, right? So how much research time we have got here, because we have a structure, we have Google data also, we at our fingertips, we have the knowledge how to change this. And that's the expectation I wanted to manage. It's not like a push button that we are pushing and then content is getting creating. created here. No, it's not like this. But still there are things which can help you. So if you select, for example, this text and you say, write me Athena, I haven't tried it here, but it should work. But then it should, write me Athena function should take this input text and try to give us more text. See, so we selected this and we got this text. A B2B marketer can find success with ultimate B2B podcast community to get right audiences. He wants to learn quick tips, tricks, tactics. This information you can already notice is coming from our market research. And of course, I need to clean this up a little bit. But you see, with this structure, I can start expanding it. It might also turn might turn into a blog. And I started with a sales letter, but I started putting in a structured way information, and I turned that sales letter structure into a more blog structure, and I can use it for my bottom of the funnel content, because not necessarily every blog need to be an educative Wikipedia type of content. It can be seen as a bottom of the funnel content as well, and that's where the beauty of this product is, that it can really help you to create this middle of the funnel and bottom of the funnel content, because it's super specific. Um, you will see a lot of improvement here actually, because we were testing how user will use it at what percentage. So this information that you see here is going to improve even 10 times more, because it was difficult first to understand what threshold to choose, what not, but with more data and with more experience that we gain now, this will improve. And you have seen like how I'm using this function, right? Athena is taking this information, collecting from the backend context, smartly try to answer this question. And there are several other tools here. You can convert each of these paragraphs into question, get answers. These are all from the competitor. And there are more other tools here. You can see all the headlines that your competitors are using, all the topics that you must cover into this content if you're targeting B2B. These are topics, these are not keywords, and these are coming from your competitors. Questions, you might get all the questions that are being asked in Quora. All the questions, these are general questions, you can answer them. When I answer the Quora questions, it's not coming from any other source, but from your market research. And I can also edit this to make it more contextual in the way I'm doing the search. So this is question, but if I want to steer it in the right direction, I can edit this question and get the answer. If this is a product and it's also on Product Hunt, or I think it's Product Hunt mostly right now, then also you get some reviews by the people. In your hand, you have always this market research with you. So you cannot deviate. You can always check that what is a single big problem in this I have in my market research. I need to scale my my company's lead generation, but don't know what content equipment to start. What was the problem? Problem agitation, problem solution, question that my target audience is asking. Result. They wanted to get result. Inspire them to take next step. Be active in the conversation and get a free checklist to help with their podcast campaign. Roadblock. I'm struggling to get started. Pain. How to create a podcast. These curiosity hooks, negative, positive, when to achieve this result. Secret, podcasting is next B2B marketing frontier for brand marketing. Mistakes, features, what features you will have, what benefits, positive, negative. This is just coming from the first 5 categories. We have done only 5% market research, and this is the result of the 5% market research. We can go as deep as possible. We can include more URLs, external URLs. The machine will start learning itself. It will start fetching more and more accurate context. Again, question? Yes.
Sorry to interrupt again. Can I use the power-ups or to make Athena smarter? Am I just limited by the credits that I have? Or is there any hard level like, I don't know, this 5 web pages, 10 documents, whatever? Or can I just put as much content in as I have credits available?
You can, the limits that you see of documents or reference URL is arbitrary. It's not stopping you to use more and more. You can do more and more. But as I said in the beginning, at this stage, it is not aggregating. So whenever you train Athena, of course, you use credits. So your credits are used. That's okay. But you can make it more and more smarter.
Yeah.
But right now, in the current deployment, we have not made it aggregated. We are still testing. I'll explain you why this is the case. So I was into a project, and this project was talking about a protein powder for an athlete, and she's preparing for the Olympics. And now this is very specific, this protein powder and the company, everything. Now I put some URL, which in this URL was also talking about medical condition or a non-context related to this. So I see some pollution of the result, and that's what we are testing now, how to avoid that pollution of the result. And we already can do that because you see we are creating a score. So this score, if you put the threshold, it will never allow Athena will become smarter, but it will never allow by this choice to make the Athena stupid choices. If you are trying to understand what I'm saying, because we have certain threshold, only we will filter that and then inject the information. So yes, you can make Athena smarter, but accidentally you can also make Athena stupid. But then we have a mechanism to control when it will become stupid. We don't take its help, right? We have already that inside it. We are only not very sure like how to start this. Shall we allow users only one time one thing? Because the beauty of doing one time one thing is you can do the A/B testing. If you are following me what I'm saying. If I allow you only one URL, you train Athena, you check the content. Next time you do another URL. When you do another URL, your previous information is rejected. A new file is created based on also your market research, everything you did. So it costs training every time when you do this, right? And this way you're making Athena smarter at step by step, and then you seeing its result. This is one choice we can make. We can also allow users to keep staking this, so aggregating this information. And there, these limits were applied so that user has controlled behavior, right? Because there's no sense of making those limits. You can make your Athena as smart as possible, as long as you have the credits and you can purchase anytime from in-app the credit as well. That will be available soon as well. So there's no limit how you can make it more smarter, but we will ensure that while it becomes smarter, it also not inject stupid behavior into it. And that stupid behavior will be controlled by a metric. So we will only draw a context when this metric is above certain point. Does that make sense? Or I'm talking too technical maybe at this stage. I'm trying to answer as much as question in a way which you can understand the mechanics.
Thank you very much.
Okay, that's a good confirmation. Just wanted to hear some more voices from Lane, Amani. I think Thomas left us. But again, making sure that I manage your expectations. It's not easy tool to start like others, but it also has very in-depth way to make your Athena smarter, because it's like creating your own Google indexation or a search engine inside it, and use this search engine smartly, not going to Google, but very smartly and not polluting your result. So you're sort of creating a sort of factory or a laboratory where you are going to leverage on this. It's you're creating a set, a smart Athena set, which you are going to leverage on it.
Hello?
Yes?
Yeah. Is there a place where we can learn more? Like a documentation on the website?
Yes. So if you go here on the website, there are resources section, and they are very, very detailed resource section. So I'll just give a short walkthrough. So if you don't know how to use Content Writer, here is a small resource, 5 steps to build a blog with AI Content Writer. If you want to know what kind of scripts we have used, you can use this structure. It will give you a list of all the structure. This is very important. This is explaining how this foundational framework is implemented inside CrawlQ, because this is not a tool where you keep generating content, but it has some all the time smart instructions behind it. So this gives you full idea of the structure of the information. It's also very educative if you're not have done this copywriting stuff. I was struggling with this, and I really painstakingly compiled this for every one of us to have this good idea, like how these copywriters, $1 million copywriters, are using these formulas, and they're getting so much successful with this. So I tried everything that we can bring here, from very deep ideas of market sophistications, like what are the 5 stages of market sophistication, from using Schwartz. They're quite deep ideas. Like if you are first in the market, your claim is new, how you go about it. And this is not only theory, but it is implemented inside as well. So now you can ask me a question. You are showing me these 5 stages, but where I can look at it, or how can I see that this is implemented in practice? You will see here market type hypothesis. So as you go more deeper, you will have this. You can start with generate insight, and if you are first to the market, your headline will change. If you are already in the competition, then you will elaborate on that mechanism. If you are third to the market, then you will focus on how your tool is or services are better, faster, cheaper than others. In these 4th and 5th stages of market, you are facing a stiff competition. So here, nobody wanted to hear your claim, your story. They wanted to see you as an authority in the domain. So then your headline will change. A lot of instructions are coming back here as well. So it's not easy for me to make all these videos and explain each categories. So I will recommend to go through these help buttons, but over a period of time, I will try to make this as good as possible as I can make. I'm also not native English speaker, so sometimes it's difficult. But here, everything that you have is inbuilt. And maybe I'll try to make it in a more natural way, so you don't have to get bored with theory or things. But see, here a lot of examples are already there, and I want our users to also get educated with this, and they use this in their copywriting, in their approach, right? So you see, coming back to these resources, there are a lot of these resources. Also, there is another resource. This really goes deep into this market research itself. So this is a framework, but how this framework is implemented is also here. How to do market research step by step. So all the steps that we are following here, you can also follow them here step by step. It's a lot of work to create like training videos. I know everyone is asking me this, but first I try to make a lot of documentation, which are really explainable, going deeper into this. I painstakingly worked hard on it to put all the screenshots here, and now I'll also try to make videos. What I have not touched upon is, like, if you don't know your trade, if you have no hunch feeling about it, you're working as an affiliate marketer, you're working for agency, and they ask you to write a topic, then you can also start with this market spying wizard. The moment you start in the market spying wizard, for example, here I put 3D printing, I put search button, and I unlock insights here. When I unlock insights, it's already telling me what is the suspicion or what are the questions your target audience will ask. What is the mistake that you're afraid your target audience would have incurred in the past about 3D printing? So my first goal when you come inside this tool is to frame you in a reference or mind of reference to think about Fred, not about keywords. And that was my goal inside the tool. Once you start doing something with it, all the time, CrawlQ want you to think in terms of thread, not keywords. That was main goal. And you can take your conscious choice. You wanted to go how much deep. You can also check here search intent. So when you are new to the topic, you don't know your thread, you start with spying wizard, you understand what questions might be thread asking, but you can also confirm what people are searching about this topic so that you can be super relevant to thread. And if you take this as a trending topic also into account, then you are taking the right approach, because then you are abstracting and generalizing the thread. So there are many threads, and then this is a statistically significant number of threads. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you. One more question, if I may.
Yes, please go ahead.
Is there an option to have a trial account or a demo account?
There are demos, yes. So when you log in, right? When you log in,
I haven't purchased CrawlQ yet.
Okay.
So,
currently, we are already selling it like 10 times discounted lifetime deal on AppSumo. Is cost is $79, and AppSumo is very generous to refund you back if you don't like it, right? So I would suggest try out there. We are not running a free trial or demo because it costs us a lot the way it is set up currently. Maybe in future we can try, but the problem with the demo account is I cannot bring all the value to you, and you get more confused with just seeing a small demo. That's sometimes problem with these kind of software is with complex, and of course we will learn it, we iterate about it. We already iterated a lot. But when you go to all projects, and if you find a project which is similar to what you want, we are continuously adding into it. So from influencer marketing to education tech, e-commerce, WooCommerce, digital agencies, customer service experience, product hunt launch, code and farmer's pain point, content automation, artificial intelligence, 3D printing. We are continuously adding it. There are some use cases for a game for Shield Made. It was a game. So in the gaming area, social media marketing, streaming services, web design. I think this is also something related to enterprises. I forgot this. UCAS is a term for managing different type of streams together. Customer services, unified customer service as a platform, something like that. I forgot this. But you see here, there are sort of demos, what is spaces here that you can start and then tweak it for your need. Okay, so I wish you a nice day ahead, and any question, please follow up through the Slack channel, Facebook group. If you have a specific question related to your account, just send us an email at support@quantumxsolution.com, and guys will come back to you as soon as they can. So thanks again for on this webinar, and I wish you all the success with your content creation.